You don't need to be millionaire to be richer than 90% of America, and most people have no idea how close they already are. The first reason your net worth can quietly place you in the top 10% of Americans is because most people dramatically overestimate how wealthy the average person actually is. When people think about wealth in the United States, they imagine luxury, homes, expensive cars, and massive investment portfolios. But the reality is far less glamorous. A huge portion of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, carry high levels of debt, and have little to no savings. Net worth is not about income, it's about what you actually own after subtracting what you owe. That means someone is earning a modest salary but consistently saving and investing can surpass someone making six figures who spends everything. For example, a person earning $70,000 a year who steadily invests in retirement accounts and avoids lifestyle inflation may build a net worth of $300,000 over time. Meanwhile, someone earning $150,000 but drowning in a car loans, credit card debt, and an oversized mortgage may have little to no net worth. The gap between perception and reality is what makes this so powerful. People compare themselves to the highlight reels of social media or the top 1%, not the average American. But when you actually look at the numbers, the thresholds for entering the top 10% is far lower than most expect. This misunderstanding causes people to understand their own progress and to overestimate how far behind they are. In truth, disciplined financial behavior over time quietly pushes you upward in the wealth distribution, even if lifestyle doesn't look flashy. The second reason is that debt plays a massive role in dragging down the net worth of the majority, which makes even moderate financial discipline incredibly powerful. Many Americans carry significant liabilities, student loans, credit card balances, car loans, and mortgages that eat away at their net worth. Net worth is a simple equation, assets minus liabilities. So, even if someone owns a home or earns a decent income, large amount of debt can cancel out those gains. For instance, imagine someone with a $400,000 home at a $350,000 mortgage, a $30,000 car loan, and $20,000 in credit card debt. Their actual net worth may only be around 0 to $20,000 depending on other assets. Now compare that to someone who rents, owns a paid off car, has no credit card debt, and have saved $150,000 in investments. Even without owning a home, that second person likely has a higher net worth. This is why simply avoiding bad debt already places you ahead of a large portion of the population. It's not just about earning more, it's about keeping more. The compounding effect of staying out of debt is enormous over time. Interest works against those who borrow heavily and works for those who invest consistently. So, when you eliminate high interest debt and build even a modest portfolio, you create a gap between yourself and the average American that widens year after year. This gap is one of the most underestimated forces behind wealth accumulation. The third reason is the power of time and consistency, which most people either ignore or underestimate. Building net worth is not about sudden breakthroughs. It's about small repeated actions over a long period. The majority of Americans struggle with consistency. It comes to saving and investing. They might start and stop reacting emotionally to market changes or prioritize short term spending over long term growth. But someone who simply invests a fixed amount every month, no matter how small, can end up far ahead. For example, investing $500 a month into a diversified portfolio with an average annual return of 7% can grow to over 600,000 in about 30 years. That's not a result of luck or high income, it's the result of discipline and patience. Meanwhile, Someone who delays investing, tries to time the market, or withdraws money frequently may never reach that level. Time amplifies everything in finance. The earlier you start, the less you need to contribute. And the longer you stay consistent, the more compounding works in your favor. What makes this even more surprising is that many people in the top 10% didn't get there through massive salaries or inheritance. They got there by simply staying the course. This creates a situation where ordinary behavior sustained over time leads to extraordinary outcomes and compared to the average. So if you have been steadily contributing to retirement accounts or investments, you may already be further ahead than you think. The fourth reason is that home equity alone can significantly boost net worth. The many Americans either don't have it or haven't built much of it. Owning a home is often one of the largest contributors to net worth in the United States. But it's not just about owning, it's about how much of that home you actually own. In the early years of a mortgage, most payments go towards interest, not principal. That means it takes time to build meaningful equity. Many people refinance repeatedly, take off home equity loans, or move frequently, which slows down or resets their progress. On the other hand, someone who buys a reasonably priced home and steadily pays down the mortgage begins to accumulate equity over time. The example, a homeowner who purchased a house for $250,000 and has paid it down to $100,000, while the property value increased to $350,000, now has $250,000 in the equity. That alone can push their net worth into top tier territory. Meanwhile, renters or homeowners with minimal equity may not have the advantage. This doesn't mean renting is bad, it just highlights how equity functions as a wealth building tool. What's important is that many people assume you need multiple properties or luxury real estate to build wealth, but it in reality just owning and holding a single home responsibly can make a significant differences. This is one of the quiet drivers behind why some people cross into the top 10% without realizing it. The fifth reason is that retirement accounts like 401ks and IRS quietly accumulate wealth in a way that many people underestimate. These accounts are often ignored in everyday conversations because they aren't as visible or exciting as other forms of wealth. You don't see them like a car or a house, and you don't spend from them regularly. But over time, they can become one of the largest components of your net worth. Many Americans either don't contribute enough, withdraw early, or don't invest properly within these accounts. But someone who consistently contributes even just enough to get an employer match can build substantial wealth. For instance, if you contribute 10% of a $60,000 salary and receive a 3% employer match, that's a $7,800 invested annually. Over 25 to 30 years, that can grow into hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on market performances. The key is that this growth happens in the background, often without you thinking about it. And because these accounts are tax advantaged, they grow more efficiently than regular investments. When you add these to other assets like savings and home equity, your total net worth can increase significantly. What makes this powerful is that many people underestimate how much they are actually accumulated. They may not feel wealthy day to day, but on paper, their net worth tells a very different story. This disconnect is why so many people are surprised to learn they are in a higher percentile than they assumed. The sixth and final